and records. You never have to even win a playoff series. Mike Trout, he'll get into the Hall of Fame. Football's about winning. Football's always been about winning. To everybody but maybe Aaron Rodgers, who said the last 2 years in New York have been the best of his life. Mostly for players in football, it's about winning. So Saquon Barkley, the head coach, says, yeah, we're not going to play to break the single-season all-time rushing record. And I'm okay with it. First of all, he leads the NFL in touches. He's earned a day off. Second of all, he hasn't had a lot of winning. 7th year in the NFL, this is only his 2nd winning season. He's also struggled with injuries. Also, Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, is in concussion protocol. Also, the running backs are the last players in college or pro football that you're allowed to hit anytime, anywhere. You have to protect running backs, sometimes from themselves. It should be duly noted that they're resting, the Eagles are, several offensive linemen. And the running back position's always been somewhat dependent on the O-line. So let me ask you, you really think the Eagles should risk arguably their best football player playing with a history of injuries to win a meaningless game to get a personal record? That's NBA stuff. That's baseball stuff. That's not what football is. It's not about that. And so I have no problem with this at all. I love Saquon, but sometimes we found this out when they had that CTE lawsuit. Sometimes you have to protect players from themselves. Players in football, the code is you play hurt, you play if there's risk. Sometimes you have to say, bro, you're not going to play. We're not putting you in this spot. If we have to hit a bonus for this, we'd pay you for the bonus. This guy has been injured. He leads the NFL in touches. On a team that's got many other offensive weapons, they still rely on him. The quarterback's in concussion protocol. Here is Saquon on the decision to sit him.
I mean, he asked me if I wanted to play, if I want to go for it. I said on Sunday, I probably didn't care too much for it. When I slept on it, I was like, there's an opportunity to implant my name in football history. May never get another opportunity like that again. So I'm down, but at the end of the day, I don't care for putting the team at risk. And he's the head coach for a reason. He makes the decisions, and whatever decision he wanted to make, I let him know if you want me to play, I'm going to go out there and make sure I get it. And if we don't, I'm okay with that too.
Listen, one of the things I appreciate about the NFL is that players don't do load management. They actually do the opposite. They play hurt. They sacrifice themselves. That's one of the things I think is incredibly relatable about football, is that the player doesn't lead, the tail doesn't wag the dog. It's like you got a GM, he does personnel, you have a coach, he makes these decisions, and then you have players. And even star players, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid runs the show. I'm good with it.
Yeah. So I think this is 100% the right move. It is tough when you're an athlete like this. When you're an athlete, no matter how young you are, when you're playing at 4 all the way up to the pros, it is this constant battle between individual and team. Teams always want to preach the importance of being a team, but it is also individual. Every individual player wants their numbers, wants their records. They want to be great. And, it's tough. I would say you have more players than I think people want to accept that would rather be the best and the greatest that they can be and not win a single championship than be just another guy and win rings. I'm very, very, very confident in that. And if you even listen to other ex-players, they will echo that as well. That not everyone's all about the rings, and some people are there, honestly, are there just for the money. This is their best opportunity to make money. Yeah, they love it. They like playing ball, whatever it is, but it's also better than doing anything else they could. So it's they don't live and die. They're not trying to get in the Hall of Fame. They don't need to win ring after ring. It's just, I'm doing this because I get paid, man. It's a job. So people are there for all different reasons. And making history is special. It's special. It's what someone like Saquon has worked his entire life for, literally. And I get it. And I've had this conversation, obviously, in these videos in so many different ways. And the reality is a few different things. One, I was going to say first and foremost, but I don't even know if it would be considered first and foremost. But one is the fact that the Eagles actually truly, truly, truly have a chance at winning a Super Bowl. It's one thing if they were the wild card team, It's one thing if they were like an 11-win team. Like, let's say they were the Washington Commanders right now. And this is no disrespect to the Commanders. I'm just using them as like a placeholder team. Or even like the Packers. Right. Those teams can go on a run. Those teams can go on a run. They can get to the Super Bowl. They could win the Super Bowl. Okay? Definitely possible. But it's definitely going to be a little bit more unlikely for it to happen. Like the Chargers as well, I think would be another decent example. There's not going to be any perfect example. But the Eagles actually had a legitimate, real, undeniable, bona fide chance at going the distance and winning a Super Bowl. It's going to be hard. Like, it would be hard for the Vikings. It's going to be hard for the Lions. It's going to be hard for the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens. But the Eagles are up there with one of the best odds to win the Super Bowl. They have one of the best roster, if not the best roster. Like, they are there. It is all hands on deck to win the Super Bowl. And what you consistently do in this circumstance is not play that final week. You rest up. Resting matters. There's a reason why Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes isn't playing his final game. Like, we've seen this for year after year after year after year. These buys, this rest, it matters so much. The Eagles, their first round should come out the gate, and quite frankly, they should win convincingly whoever they play, whether it's the Packers, the Commanders, whoever. It should be a convincing, easy win. I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm not making any predictions, but that's what it should be. Their next round should be a hard game. It should be very similar to like the Bills, where it's like their first round game, unless the Bengals are kind of sneaking, it should be like, oh man, the Broncos have no chance. The Chargers got no chance. Like, whoever we face, get out of here. We're facing Steelers first round, bring it on. Like, it should be an easy win, as easy as it can get in the NFL. I don't mean easy as in like you're playing the Jags in week 4, but like it should be like, not like, oh my God, dude, are we going to lose this game? Like, what the heck? How are we only up by 3 going into, with 7 minutes to go? Like, what the heck? It should feel like, yeah, okay, we got this. So then you should have most likely 3 brutal games. Going up against the Vikings, I don't care how confident you are as an Eagles fan. Going up against the Vikings will be hard. Going up against the Lions, I don't care how injured you think they are, is going to be hard. You get to the Super Bowl, going up against the Bills, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, I know the Eagles beat them, still will be brutal. Going up against Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Spags, brutal. We're going to be talking about brutal games that you are going to need Saquon to be legendary. Legendary. Now, sure, you can make the argument, well, he could still be legendary and play in this game. Sure, absolutely. But you're risking it. And the comeback of you can get injured in any game, that doesn't really fundamentally make sense. Okay? That's like saying that I could be done. I could just drop at any given moment. So why not just jump out of a plane without a parachute? It's like, what? That doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? I could get hit by a car. Okay, sure, you can. Doesn't mean that it's not really smart to look both ways or actually cross at a crosswalk rather than in the middle of a freeway. You have to make smart, calculated decisions. Just because a whole nother bunch of actions can happen and repercussions can happen doesn't mean that you still don't make the smartest decision in any given moment. Well, I'm never going to be a millionaire anyway, so what's the point of trying to save my money? Well, because saving your money puts you in a more, stable position moving forward. It makes you more resilient. Sure, you might not be a multi-millionaire, but you know what? Having $100,000 saved in your bank account makes you infinitely more resilient to whatever life has to throw your way. So you're right. You probably will never be a millionaire. Doesn't mean that you should just spend your money on whatever you want. It's not smart. I'm never going to be the healthiest or be able to play in the pros. So what's the point of working out and trying to exercise? Well, because it improves the quality of your life. Sure, you might not ever make it to the NFL or the NBA, but it's nice to be able to have, somewhat healthy knees when you're 55. be able to get out of bed and not be like, oh, my back. It's all about making the best decision that you can. And this to me is the best decision. And this was unpopular, but the NFL is going to go to 18 games. I am very confident in that. I really am. They went to 17 and it was a massive success. The amount more money and the ratings, it's just through the roof. There is so much money at stake here. I know we throw around words like billions, and it's like, what does that even mean? Seriously. Because like when we say, oh, this team is worth billions of dollars, it's like, what does that actually even mean? The money and the powers that be who want that money, it's just so much. It's so much. It's like incomprehensible. It really is. And adding another game, to me, from my viewpoint, and Colin has said this as well, and Colin knows way better than I. He's been in this industry for a million years. He's also incredibly confident that it is going to go to an 18-game schedule. This record, there is such a great chance that it won't last. I really believe that. And it doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't go for it, that you shouldn't try to get it, but I really do believe it'll be a shorter-lived schedule. When you think about it, you had this Dickerson record lasting, 40 years or something, whatever the official number is, 40-some years. Well, now that we've gone to 17 games, we've only been doing 17 games for a few years. Within a few years of going to 17 games, you now had multiple players pursuing it and one player who would most likely break it. We've had a few of these records now being broken around the league now with the extra game schedule. Now you're going to add another game on top of that. It's a real thing. You'll have another back. And running is on the incline, on the uphill. Passing is, they're going away. We were an incredibly pass-happy NFL years ago. If you look at it, it's gone, as soon as it reached its peak, which I forget exactly what year was. I feel like it was like the Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill era. It's gone down now, every single year. Passing has gone down. Running has gone up. There's a great chance that this record would not last super long. It's a real thing. And there's just so much at stake. And injuries are real. A.J. Brown went down. Devontae went down. Dallas Goedert went down. Lane Johnson went down. Saquon Barkley went down. You want to be as healthy as you possibly can. When the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl in 22, along with the Chiefs, they were the two healthiest teams. That's not just luck. The two healthiest teams made it to the Super Bowl. It matters. It matters. We know that. So if there's anything that you can do to increase the chances, even if it's just a 5% chance, to increase the chances, the likelihood that your team is going to be healthier in the playoffs, you do it. And that's why they're sitting all these starters. And it's smart, especially when you have a real chance to win a Super Bowl. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles sitting Saquon Barkley? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.